What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to California Reloaded. Um, I am going to start. I'm going to restart my 6.5 Creedmoor load development series because my last attempt just got totally botched, and I'm not going to get into it. But I'm going to basically start that over. But real quick, I'm going to take the time to show you guys some new stuff and for the reloading bench, and just let me just get into it real quick. I'm gonna try to make this video a lot quicker. Frankford Arsenal Intellidropper powder measurer. I don't have a lot of experience with electronic powder droppers. I usually just use like the manual ones, like the Lymans or the Lees. I've done it from for pistol and stuff like that. Just kind of like a preset charge weight for loading 9mm and 45. When we got into reloading, my buddy and I, probably, I don't know what it was, like 12 or 13 years ago now, he bought one of the original Hornady, I don't know what it is, lock and load or whatever, powder measure. And that thing's cool. I mean, I've used that a little bit, but I haven't actually used them. I always just go in manually. I always just use the beam scale, tried and true beam scale, especially when I'm loading rifle. I'm never loading 100 rounds at once. I mean, if I'm doing 270 or 6.5 or 223, I'm loading 20, 30, 40 rounds max. So I don't do one round at a time all the way through. I'll get the block out and I'll set it down, and I'll get all my primers in all the cases that I'm going to load, and then I'll get all my charge weights, and then once I have all my charge weights established, then I'll go to the press and start flinging bullets in there. But real quick, we're just going to open this thing up together. I'm sure there's other videos on the Frankford Arsenal, but I'm just going to go ahead and make mine. I've had this for a while now. I just haven't opened it up, set it up, any of that stuff. So oh man, now that I think about it, I really hope that it works, because I think my return window is closed. So if it doesn't work, I guess we'll figure that out together. But real quick, just gonna open this thing up, all real time, and then I will, after kind of the unboxing, we'll take a break and I'll get it set up, and then I'll come back. So just, obviously instructions. I'm going to go ahead and read all of these. I know that, see right here, allow the device to stabilize for a minimum of 15 minutes. Allowing to stabilize will increase accuracy and precision, blah, 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 blah. So I'll read this thing thoroughly. I'm not going to bore you guys with that on the camera. But we got your power cord right here, little brush. The power cord, of course the hopper, which I'm going to take a dryer sheet and I'm going to thoroughly clean it out during my setup, get all the static off of it, get all the little dust and all that little shit off of it. This would be your front cover. Looks like that's just extra padding. You know what, that's probably the little contraption that the oh, here we go, we got this too, little pan, which I will also be cleaning out with a dryer sheet, as I normally do. What else do we got in this bad boy? This feels like a weight. And I got that right. These are 50 grams. So I got two 50 grams now. So I have 200 gram weights from my other scales. Now I got two 50 gram weights to add to my collection. And I think that's it. Now it's just the Intellidropper itself. And let me go ahead and ditch the box, and we'll set this bad boy down. And let's look at this thing. Build quality. Very cheap plastic. Like, wow. I don't know what's going on in the reloading world, but man, holy shit. It seems like all of these brands use the cheapest plastic imaginable. I mean, look at how ugly that plastic is. It's just ugly. It's just something like, almost like some of the cheap Chinese toys that my kids have. It just feels like very cheap. But I don't care about the cosmetics. I don't care if it feels like shit or if it feels cheap. All I care about is, does it work? So I'm going to go ahead and set it up real quick. I'm going to let it warm up. I'll calibrate it, or we might calibrate it together. I'm also going to download the app on my phone, and we're going to go through this whole thing together. So I will be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. I've been playing around with this thing. I'm going to go ahead and do this real time. I'm going to recalibrate it just so that way you guys can see the process, but it is already calibrated, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm just going to take that pan off. Zero that out real quick. Okay, I'm going to calibrate. It's going to ask for a 50-gram weight. So we're going to try to put that on the pan, not touching the spout, and we're going to hit calibrate again. Okay, now it's asking for the 100, so we're going to put the second 50 on there. Hit calibrate again. And it says pass. Okay, so now we're going to take this off. And we're going to put our pan on. And I'm going to zero the pan out. That's the same reading that I had the last time. Now, I'm going to do this. I'm basically going to just throw, I got some Hodgdon 4350 in there for the 6.5. I'm just doing a random charge weight. So we're just going to test this out. We'll do it together. And by the way, you can't tell because of the glare and because of the camera angle, but this thing is leveled in the bubble. I adjusted all the feet and got this thing rock solid. I'm not going to rock it around because now it is calibrated. I have noticed, and I'm going to stand back. I don't want to talk too close to this thing because this thing is sensitive. So once I set the charge weight and I hit go, I'm going to let it do its thing. And then I'm going to compare it to my beam scale. I have a RCBS 505 here that I've used for years, and I honestly trust it. This thing is super accurate. And I have compared it to little scales like this that I use to weigh my bullets and my arrows. So I know that the RCBS is legit when it comes to weight. And then side note, real quick, I was downloading the app and I was trying to mess with this. I cannot get this thing to connect to Bluetooth. I think part of the culprit is my watch. My phone does not want to drop my watch right now. So I'll play around with that later. But I mean, I'm assuming that it will work. And then before I start charging this, side note, the 505 scale, I have to have this at this wonky angle because my table is not perfectly level. So I'm close to being maxed out on my leveling leg. So this was kind of the only way that I could do it to get both this and this in frame. So I am going to be honest. I mean, if it's off, I'm going to tell you that it's off, but I'm just going to go ahead and set a charge weight to 30 grains. And yeah, 30 grains. Let's do it. Okay, 30 grains according to this. This is after the real-time calibration, so I'm going to dump this into the beam scale, and then I'm going to go ahead and start another charge while the beam scale's leveling out. So let's go ahead and fire off another one. Make sure that's zeroed out, which it is. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have pushed that. It should have done it by itself. You know what? That's my mistake. I fucked that one up. Let me not do that. Let me do it by have it do it by itself. I forget that it will do it by itself, so. And now it doesn't want to because now my target was just left. So why don't I do this? I'm going to set it for 30 again. I'm going to let it do its thing. It's going to start at 0 count over. Let me see where we're at on the beam scale. On the beam scale, we are perfectly leveled. I'm barely a hair under the 0 line. So according to this, we're light. But this is brand new. I'm assuming I'm going to have to do this multiple times. So now this is saying this is 30 grains. So I'm going to take this off, put it in my beam scale. And remember, I'm not doing this every time I'm loading. What I'm simply trying to achieve here is making sure that it's accurate. Now it's going on its own. So, okay, so that was my mistake before. I need to just let it do its thing. So far, it seems to be working. I'm going to go ahead and check the beam scale on this second one here. It's the same thing. It's basically not perfectly on the line. It's grazing the line. So, I'm going to call that pretty accurate because that's the same reading on the 505 that I had on the last one. Maybe as this thing dispenses more, it'll get kind of closer to it. Now, I typically do all my charge weights on all the rounds that I'm going to load all at once and then go to the press. But what I could do is if I don't shake the floor too much, I could always, oh, see, now we're over on this one. See, but see, here, let me, okay. Okay, so this 30 right here, this 30 is on the money. So maybe the scale is finally starting to just, you know, the whole thing's warming up. I did exceed that 15-minute warm-up time. I did about a 30-minute warm-up time on this bad boy. So I'm going to test that to see if that's over. But I like how it seems like it's doing its thing correctly. It seemed a little overzealous on that last one. It spit out like a couple extra little granulars of powder, and that put us over. But see that? I like how it catches itself early. I can appreciate that. And what I like about this setup is I may not have to rely on my okay, that one's saying stable. So this is the one that was 0.1 over, and yes, it's a hair over the line. So I think it's probably a good practice. It seems pretty accurate to me. I think it's probably a good practice to let this thing dispense a few times. Make sure that you're comparing it to another scale just to make sure that you're right for your safety, especially loading rifle rounds. But you know, maybe let it do it 5-6 times. Make sure that you're in that happy medium, and then probably what I would do would be, as I start loading and dropping powder into my rounds, I'll probably just compare it to the 505 after every, you know, 5, 6, 10 rounds, something like that. So far, this thing seems pretty accurate. I'm about 2 feet away from the bench right now. I'm trying not to rock the bench. I'm trying not to touch the bench. So I'm just letting this thing do its thing, and it seems good. All right, let me check the beam scale. So this last one, it's showing, it's still touching the line, but it's showing it as a hair under. So it's probably, if, and this isn't exact, but it's probably a point, like a 0.1 grain tolerance, it seems like. But again, just let this thing kind of do its thing. Go on, Bandit. Don't shake my bench. Get out of here. I want Bandit jumping up on the bench, fucking this whole experiment up. He will too. He's a punk. Okay, so that was number 6. Let me check number 5 on the beam. It's right on the line. So it's probably got like a 0.1 grain tolerance. Say what you will. I mean, a lot of people would probably think that 0.1 is not a huge margin of error. A lot of people would probably agree that it is. I think it just depends on the user. I'm not going to stress 0.1 because at the end of the day, this is for hunting loads. My series that I'm going to fire off on the 6.5 Creedmoor, it's going to be testing different non-lead rounds to see which one flies out better out of the Superlight, the Howa Superlight. And honestly, I'm trying to achieve sub MOA at 100 yards when I'm figuring out my load development and figuring out my speeds and what works. And then after that, it's just a matter of loading and using the same rounds in that rifle, and it'll never change. So I'm not expecting... That's right on the line on the 6th load there. That is right on the line. So this thing, it's probably got a 0.1 tolerance, but I am not expecting absolutely perfect. You know, I think a 0.1 is okay if it is a 0.1, and I can actually check it on my other scale to see if we're at a 0.1. Actually, you know what? Let me see this. Let me go ahead and set this scale up as well. And I don't know if this is in frame, but I'm just going to go ahead and get this thing set up here. And I'm going to run 3 scales on this experiment. And actually what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of go like this so you guys can see. And we're going to run 3 scales in this experiment. So let's see, load number 7 on the beam. It's touching the line, so that's probably that 0.1. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly, because I don't want this thing waiting on me too long, I'm going to quickly calibrate this. It's going to ask for the 100 gram weight. Pass. Okay, so let me just go back to grains. Okay, we're on grains, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to dump this into the pan and let it do its thing. And then I'm going to go ahead and use this pan and I'm going to tear this out. So on this scale, I got 145.2. I have 145.3 on the screen here, so fairly close. Let's go ahead and tear that out. And then let that thing do its thing. So now it's showing 145.4, so we'll see right now. There's something going on here, and I'm pretty sure I'll be able to kind of nail it down and figure it out between these three scales working in unison with each other. So let's see where we're at on this small guy here. 29.9. So we have a, and just so you guys can see that, 29.9. And then on the beam scale, it's kind of hard because I got you guys on a tripod, but it's right on the line. So I think we have a 0.1 tolerance we're working with, and I'm not gonna stress over that. So for shits and giggles, I'm gonna throw this one back in there. That was load number 9. Oh, you know what? Hang on, guys. This could be throwing us off. There's a little tiny grain of powder on the tray, and I want to do this without actually... There we go. So we're back to 145.3. So hopefully I didn't just fuck anything up. Hopefully when I put this on, it zeroes back out. Hopefully zeroed out. So It seems to be working fairly well. I am impressed by it. I think I got to figure out this whole Bluetooth thing, and not that I really give a shit about pairing it to my fucking phone. I could care less, but obviously, if it's a feature, I want to make sure that it's working. So let's see, load number 9. It's right on the money. Load number 9's on the money. So I think all you guys got to do when you're setting this thing up is just make sure you're being diligent with double checking, triple checking. You want to make sure that it's working. Oh yeah, see this says 175 because it turned off, and you gotta like reset it. So whatever. I did check it on that, and we were within 0.1. So I think you know, guys, I think for the money, I think it's a good deal. Let me see how much I paid for it. I know I bought it a while ago, but I'm just gonna go on my Amazon real quick because I did get it on Amazon. Let's check my previous orders real quick. I think it was on sale too. So I got it for $174.99. What is it going for now? It's going for $200 now. So I got it for 25 less, but it's going for $199 now. You know, I think it's good. I think it's good. Let me check load number 10 real quick, not to bore you guys. It's right on the money. So I think, you know, just give it some time, let it do its thing, let it warm up, cycle it a few times, and honestly, so far, first impressions, it looks cheap as hell, but you know what? It's working. And if I can expect a 0.1 grain tolerance for setting up a hunting rifle, there's no doubt in my mind that I can seriously make some accurate rounds downrange and that it's going to perform flawlessly. There's no doubt in my mind. I think even with a 0.1 discrepancy, I can still get sub-MOA out of this, and I expect to. So, yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. I'm going to put this thing through the ringer, and if I feel like I need to follow up with any other details on it, I will post a separate video. But, yeah, guys, take it easy. Stay safe. Bye.